Greetings to my family. If y'all notice, I'm loving the from my understanding her more. Yes, so welcome to the platform where women speak their truth and men listen, learn, and appreciate. But today, there's a twist. Because today, the ladies will be listening, learning, and appreciating. I'm your beautiful host, Katie K. And in the house, we have two great men, Mr. Brian Cuff and Mr. Andrew Forsyth.
Hi,
Welcome,
thanks for having
gentlemen.
me.
Thanks for having us.
Listen, I am excited to have you guys on here. Like, I was like, woo! I am thrilled to hear from Mr. Cuff and Mr. Forsyth. Y'all, if you don't know them, you're
Wow,
gonna
pressure,
love this episode.
pressure.
All right, so we're going to go right into it. Our topic for this episode is his expectations. And listen, women tend to have a lot of expectations. Some of those expectations are scary. If you had listened to the previous episode of her expectations, you know what I'm talking about. Because sometimes women are looking for the guy that doesn't exist. But we're going to hear from our men today. So starting with Mr. Forsyth, what are some key things on a general scale that you think men look or expect?
All right, so hi everyone, Andrew Forsyth. All right, so for me, and I think for most men, I'm just going to start with two first. It's communication and honesty. Yeah. Communication. All right, so we all know that. Let me apologize from the outset. I might generalize when I say woman. It's no personal attack on any specific woman. For instance, there's someone who is listening and you're a woman. Don't take offense when I say woman. I have to do this because when I'm around my female friends and I say woman this or woman this, they're quick to jump and defend. It's no personal attack. It's just speaking general.
I mean,
but yes.
We're looking out for each other.
So for me, we as men grow up and we learn, we observe and learn that women tend not to be straightforward. For me, women expect us to read minds, read signs.
Listen,
here goes Katie defending.
No, it's not a matter of defending, you know. On one of our episodes, one of our guests, who was a male, said the same exact thing. And I'm like, listen, we are made up like this. We're not the first sex.
All right, so let me explain how men are made up. So men are not made up. Men are not made up to read minds. Our men are not the best at reading signs, right?
Listen, and that's what I'm just going to say. Sometimes we don't communicate best with words. We communicate through actions. So you can tell when we're upset. We may not say it.
Yes, and I was getting there.
Show it.
It's a learned process.
And it's very loud.
Yes, it's a learned process that men...
Our actions are very
that
loud.
Men have to set in their mind that, hey, if this is going to work, I have to adjust and start looking for these signs and so forth. However, as a man...
Amen.
As men, general men just want you to communicate straightforward. If X is X...
Okay, fair
If
enough.
X is X, say X, right? If Y is Y, say Y. Don't do half a Y and expect us to read fully Y.
Can I interject on that point?
Right.
Yeah, when I MC weddings, there's a quick story that I often tell where, communication is key. And yes, men are, as they say, men are from Mars, men are from Venus. We are completely different. So, for example, there was this woman who woke up in the morning and she told her husband about this dream that she had. Oh my God, she dreamt that she saw the most beautiful pearls. She wanted a diamond necklace, a pearl necklace. And she told him about this dream that she had. And my, how she looked so beautiful in the dream. And she asked him, what do you think it means? And he told her, when you come home later, I'll show you exactly what it means. And she was so excited through the day. She had her mind on getting the present, and she was so excited when she got home and she saw the box on the bed. She jumped on the bed, she ripped it open, and she tore the package off. And when she opened it, it was a book that said how to interpret dreams.
Huh.
Seriously?
So she had a dream, and the man was trying to help her to understand it.
No.
If she wanted a necklace, why she never just tell the man, I want a pearl necklace?
No, listen. All right. I have to come in here. Yeah, all right. You see, this is why I love the fact that we hear it from our females themselves. The platform is created where women speak their truth. Listen, we're easy for shame. And we don't want, we to say, I can get the pearl necklace? And
So you give
yes,
subtle
I know.
hints.
So what we're going
No,
to
but no.
Yeah.
But if you tell the man, if you tell the man you have a problem understanding the dream, what do you think this dream means? Huh? What do you think? I dreamt so and so. The man I go try to figure out now. All right, I don't know if to fix that dream, so I go find a book that can help the situation.
Listen, we love to give hints, and Mr. Cuff, I'm sure you would have mastered the art of picking up on
But that's
hints.
it.
Because listen, even if we like something, we are not going to say, hey, I mean, I think I did it once where I wanted something and I sent the picture and I was like, this is so nice. It would be so nice for a birthday gift. And like, I mean, I didn't get it, but I didn't feel so bad because I didn't write out say, more this on my birthday. I didn't get it. But I was like, this is really nice. This would actually be a nice birthday gift for a female. So we tend to give hints, and we do. I'm not going to say it is fair because it's from the same example that we shared in the same episode I'm telling you about, where when you ask us if we're fine and we say yes, but we're really not fine, we tend to get upset when you listen to our answers. And I agree, it's not fair, because when we say yes and you go with the yes
But
and really mean
as
no,
I said before, it's a learned process that men have to make the effort
it
to.
is.
If you want a relationship to really work, you have to
I'm
learn.
glad you
So
said
that's
that.
just a tip out there for the men. For me, I'm newlywed, still newlywed, and there are times when my wife is upset, and I can clearly see it. I say, babe, you alright? And she's like, yes. But I clearly know that something is wrong.
Yes, I'm fine. Can't you see?
You're
Yes.
experiencing what we're saying. And I slam the door.
No, man.
Of course I'm fine. I'm washing the dishes and
Even
you're
without
everything
those
go on.
evident signs, you have to learn and how to read
To
the
pick up on it.
signs, the little things.
Right.
Sometimes you really can't do nothing about it.
And not just that,
sometimes
but
you
language.
really, as the man, can't do nothing about it. But you just know, say, tread softly.
Very softly. I emphasize that. Tread softly. There's a hymn that goes like that. But yes, communication is very important, as Mr. Forsyth said. You also pointed out on honesty.
Yes, honesty. Now, I know from both sides, persons would, of course, that is a must, or a requirement or need.
Mm-hmm.
But men, especially men like Brian and I, who are very family oriented and are married and want their marriage to work, we require honesty. So it's a must for me.
Definitely.
As one who wants my relationship to work. Right? Yeah.
Honesty. So communication and honesty. And very, very important points. Mr. Cook,
right.
I'll take your points now. So
Let me start the opposite of how Mr. Forsyth started. I try not to make generalizations. And I make sure to anytime I'm in any discussion, I tell persons first and foremost, what I say is not gospel. What's good for the goose may not be good for the gander.
So true.
Right? This is my opinion, and this is what I have learned, and this is what I've seen. And I want people to approach with an open mind. So one of the first things for me when it comes down to expectations is that I expect you to know, and this is to the female, I expect you to know that your expectations of me may not be met and my expectations of you may not be met. So that's the first thing for me, right? I understand, and it's over years of having a majority of female friends, and also, from when I was younger, I said to myself, I've always heard that women are from Venus and they're hard to understand and no man will ever fully understand. So I have made it, I guess, part of my lifelong duty to try and understand her more. So big up yourself, understanding her more for making this platform. So I try to, it's a great thing you're doing. So I try to do my best to understand. And I want everybody to know, man, woman alike, that socialization is one of the biggest hurdles and the biggest obstacles we have to overtake or overcome before we understand each other in a relationship. So you see, for me, your expectations of me is based on how you were socialized, how you were brought up, whether you had a daddy or not, whether your daddy was loving to your mommy or not. And for me, vice versa, it's the same thing. I grew up I may have seen daddy leave when I was at a certain age and he wasn't so huggy, lovey, kissy, feely. So I am not going to be that type of person. So again, I'm going to speak about some of my experiences or some of the things I share at weddings or whenever I'm talking to couples. There's a next thing that there's this woman who, she was just so upset. She went to the counselor, she called for the marriage counselor, and she said her husband doesn't love her anymore. And the man said, why would you say that? And she said, because he doesn't tell me. And the counselor asked the man, and the man said, that's not true, I love her very much. So the woman said, but you don't tell me anymore. From our wedding day, you haven't told me. He said, if it changed, I would have let you know. Because that was how you got socialized. He thought that from a tell her from a married, then she needs to know, so it goes for the rest of our life. She saw her mommy and daddy always saying, I love you, kiss, bye-bye. I love you, kiss, bye-bye. Come home, kiss. So he had an expectation and she also had expectations. And the two worlds collided because both of them came with I wouldn't say unrealistic expectation, but expectations based on their socialization. So I believe it's very important for both of us in any relationship to know that what you expect may not be what I expect. So it goes back to what Mr. Forsyth said, which is communication is very vital. In order for us to bridge that gap that exists between Mars and Venus, we have to communicate a whole lot. So I think every relationship should be based on proper communication. And I learned my very first day at university that communication is the interactive transference of meaning between intelligences. And that stuck with me from 2005 till now. There has to be understanding for communication to truly occur. And that is what I think people will talk and people will express their expectations, but both parties still don't understand what the other requires of them. So that is where there's a major issue.
All right. And what you said would lead me to this next question. So some persons are looking for this, but might not necessarily get it because by right, none of us are the same. Our expectations are going to be different. And as such, as married men who would have selected their lucky brides, would you say it's safe to go in 50-50? So you see she's meeting some of your expectations, but she's lacking in some other avenues. Is it worth working with or no? I need to see all of what I expect.
Well, for me, I dated for 10 years, right? And a part of this time dating for that long was understanding her, right? Her expectations and our compatibility. Now, men always try to
very important
look for that perfect person. But the reality is you will never find that perfect person. Oh, by the way, when I said I dated my now wife for 10 years, not just dating everybody. So we both, and it's something that I realize, there are things up to this point that she don't like when I do them. But over the time we were dating and since we've been married, we realized that, hey, I love this woman. This is just her, or for her, this is just him. I just have to find a way and work around it. So 50-50 might not work for a person, but maybe 70-30. But I'm not going to say no to 50-50. Because again, if both of you understand each other, if the male really understands her and understands her faults, there are ways you can work around those faults.
Solid point. And you mentioned, I just want to touch on the fact that you said around working with her, working around her. Compromising is very important. I stress it every day. I preach it every day. If you find somebody who you think or who you know deep down you want to spend the rest of your life is compromising, it have to take place. And because we are not the same persons, we're going to do things that upset each other. And we're going to do things that the other party really dislikes and wishes that we can get rid of. And it's for us now, if we truly love and want this to work, we're going to get rid of those flaws. Or the other party is going to ask themselves, is he worth
It's very important
this?
to also know not to think that marriage will change anything. Well, certain things. It won't change certain things. And if you think of you going into a relationship with the aim of changing the person, that ain't gonna happen.
Changing. Yeah. Even in the relationship itself, a lot of us, the physical expectations are met, and so we want to customize the personality now and the characteristics. So we say, okay, he meets the physical expectations. Now I'm going to create the perfect man with the personality, and they try to change.
See that perfect word?
Yes.
Listen, I said this also, sweetie. If he doesn't want to change,
and it's not that change can't.
But I'm going to give Mr. Cuff.
Let me just finish one small point. It's not that change won't happen.
Go ahead.
But don't go in it expecting that you are going to change a person, because over time you two will grow together, and I will realize that my wife don't like when I leave my shoes in the doorway, so I'm going to make an effort to put it where it's supposed to go. So it's not that change won't happen over time, but don't think that you are going to change a person.
Effort.
Wow, so much I want to say. Let me see if I can piece them all together. So on the point of compromise, I think it's important for us to remember two things about compromise. I think one, we need to understand that if we're compromising in a relationship, or I decide that, hey, I need to compromise in my relationship, or I always have to be the one compromising, I may end up being miserable because I am compromising because I want the relationship to work, while the other person may not be compromising because they don't see the need to compromise. So I think we also have to remember to be careful on how much I am willing to compromise, because it's losing a piece of my identity. It's losing a piece of myself, while the other person may not even see the need to do that.
That
and
team
because
effort.
of that also, it is. But as Andrew also said, if I believe that, all right, if I compromise this time, she's going to compromise the next time, or he's going to compromise the next time. That's a mistake we make too. I shouldn't be compromising because I want you to see that it's important to compromise so that you can compromise the next time. Because I may be compromising and you never get the understanding that you should compromise too. So I shouldn't be trying to change you, teach you how to compromise by compromising. It is the foundational principle of love, as Andrew said, that will allow you to also compromise. If you really love this person, if you really care about this person, you will realize that, hey, the more I continue to be this way, it's causing problems. And you have to first want to change, because no woman can get a man to change for long. Let me put it that way. If him don't want to truly change, a man will change and get what he want, and then he go back to being himself.
Listen,
right?
I'm glad it came from. Yeah. I'm glad it came from the man, because I said that exact thing where if a man,
he has to love you and love the relationship and love himself before him realize, say, hey, all right, so it makes sense for me to do this because it will work to the benefit of the relationship as a whole, and not just because, all right, she do it, so I'm gonna do it too. Because if it continues that way, two by the next week, he go back to being himself.
The next day.
And then she go vex, and she go vex, and it will cause more problem. How come yesterday you didn't do this, and today you're gone back to doing that?
That is it.
So I think that's important to look for on the topic of compromise. But before we move on, back to what you were asking about 50-50, I believe that it is important that you have a list, whether man or woman, of your expectations. And this is where eventually premarital counseling comes into play. Because if you have a list of expectations and she has a list of expectations, then the both of you put those on the table and you'll both see where you are before you make that step into I do. Then you now realize this is where we are.
Yeah, no
So I believe it's
surprises will
important
pop
to
up.
have your no surprises. You have your full list, because if you put out your full list, you will realize now where you now decide if you can live with this, if you can compromise to the 50-50 or to the 70-30 or to the 60-40, or then you realize, boy, if me can't reach a full 100, then let's not do this just yet. So I believe I don't subscribe to the 50-50. I do believe there is a leeway for it in the discussions and the premarital counseling and whatever. But I don't say, boy, all right, so she for the men, she may have the Coca-Cola bottle shape, she have the long hair, and she have that $1 million smile. So we work with it, even though our personality miserable. No. You need to find out what it is that exists enough for you to be comfortable, as well as the other person being comfortable for the union to work.
And I'm happy you made that point about a lot of times what we are expecting is not who we are. So same like how you mentioned the coca bottle shape.
Are them not try for the
some sexy woman and them not sexy themselves. Like, who are you to want?
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? You want like this meme where there's this meme where was it? I don't know. A public figure was drinking water, and like the guy captioned it saying, like they would say, "Look for Mr. Coffer drink water, and you want Hennessy."
I get you.
So it's like you want this from the woman.
Yeah, and
but
enough man use the excuse that in this world if I have
that.
gut, that's why them belly so big. I don't agree with that. you don't need a big belly to have
Not
guts.
at all.
Guts are inside. Guts are inside, exactly.
No. But it is important that whatever it is that we're asking for, we're able to give it. So if you want the girl to look nice, make sure so you can look nice for she. Yeah. You want her to look good for you, so look good for she. You want her if you can cook, make sure you can cook too. Even if it's to boil a little sausage and egg and make her breakfast. But don't be a case where you're just expecting.
And another important thing that I see necessary for a long-lasting relationship. Yes, this is not what might be suitable for Brian or any other male, but I think that the dating process should not be rushed.
And that is it.
Dating is when, and courtship is when you really get to
very important
start to know and understand your woman. And for me,
the person
you rush through dating, your life with. You're still in that little honeymoon period where everybody pretending to be the perfect person. So you don't get the time for to stale out, for the want of a better word. So everybody stop kind of pretending to be this perfect.
Yeah.
You know? So I personally believe that that period, there's time should be spent during dating and courtship.
I agree. Let me say quickly, when I heard Andrew talk about how long he dated, it reminded me that I'm not alone in this long dating process. You know, my wife and I dated pretty long too. I think it was 4 or 5 years. But I think it's important that, as he said, it's not a rushed process, but more so the length of the process is not as important as about what is done in the process. And I think that is where we go wrong sometimes. A lot of us, let me be frank, what dating is, generally speaking, is not what dating is supposed to be.
True.
Right? The quality time that you spend is where you are supposed to see the good, bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and all of that. And I see a meme out there that says you should not get married to somebody until you've seen them, how they respond to slow Wi-Fi. Because at that time, they see them draw out, and you see them upset, and you see them not patient, and you hear how them done. done the provider, and you just
no
think about,
care in this
wow,
world.
this is what is inside this
Yeah.
person. And I tell people, see them with kids, see them with old
Yes,
persons, see them with your friends, see them around sports, see them around things that you love, right? So you'll then get an understanding of who they truly are, and don't just see them in it for a little while. Put them in the situation. If you want kids, see how they are around kids. You mean they might say, "Oh, so cute, so nice," but they when the picnic drop a buckle of water
Now
and
step
it
to
mess up the
place.
whole of the
Yes.
carpet. Right. How do they respond? So the dating process is important, and I agree fully. So I think men don't really expect much from dating processes, generally speaking. This is where I generalize. Generally speaking, men don't really value the dating process as we should. And we spend it being fickle, as Andrew said. You put your best foot forward. You know, you borrow your brethren car for pick her up, which is to say you drive car. You put on your brother shirt for sure, say you're your name brand. You borrow your brethren cologne. So what we do in the dating process is become fickle, and we show what we think is going to win over the person, as averse to showing them the real me. And I think because of that, it helps in creating false expectations in a relationship, because you see this person on social media, you see this person in your best 10 minutes of your life, but then for the other rest of the time, you don't know what they're like. You don't know when them go home and pull the door, them really let down them here. So the dating process is very important, and I think it's something that we should start putting in our expectations.
Definitely. And I'm happy
Let me just
that you both were so honest, even to
let me
the
just
point
jump
that,
back in.
like, I'm
And
so happy it came
it's not
from
just
your mouth.
dating without a purpose.
Go ahead.
It must be clear that, hey, we're dating this long because of the future we look towards. We're not just doing it for doing its sake.
That is it. We're not wasting each other's time. We're not just here because we want to say, oh, Andrew is my boyfriend, or Andrew is this person is my girlfriend, or oh, he's my husband, he's my wife. We don't want to just say that. We want to be doing this. There's a purpose behind
And
it,
nobody pressure you.
and a whole purpose.
I'm sure Brian went through it too.
And
Nobody for pressure you for it.
Especially family and church people.
You,
church people and family.
When you're not married. Oh, man,
We're not date for love.
Yes. Look how long on the dating. Yeah, look how long on the dating. But I had to also draw back on what Mr. Cuff said. And men will change for who they love and who they want to be happy with for the rest of their life. If him have some really bad habits where him know himself say to boy really bad, he's going to make an effort. Him not
or he's just thinking about the here and now, and not the future.
That is it. Him not thinking I don't want him to spend the rest of his life with, and this is very important. That is it. And we could not have ended this discussion on a better note. I mean, some solid points were given, but I have to also make this point, as Andrew pointed out, on communication and honesty. I had to put down these other two: commitment and trust. Trust being the foundation of it all. Because if I don't trust you, I won't communicate certain things with you. If I don't trust you, I will not be committed to you. If I don't trust you, I won't be honest with you.
True.
Yeah. And I think what I liked about this whole discussion is that for Andrew and I, if you realize, none of us, he's in my boss. none of us focused on mostly the physical or the materialistic. So it wasn't that men expect sex or men expect physical this, physical that. Because there is a preconceived notion that is all men bring to the table, generally speaking, when it relates to the relationship, that we are all physical and we expect a look, we expect a feel, we expect that. There is more to us than sometimes we are often allowed to be, and that is why we continue to be fickle and surface, because everybody just expects some of us to be fickle and surface, so we just give you the fickle and surface. But there are a lot of mental and emotional aspects to us as men, and we do value commitment, we value respect, we value honesty, we value communication, and we value a lot of these things. But it's just that people generally say that those are not as important to us, so we just say, all right, we just work with it.
And that is sad. It is sad that our expectations usually lead to a realistic view of things. So we expect men to
self-fulfilling prophecy.
The man cheat. Yeah, it becomes such a bad habit of us. We don't want it to happen, but we're still anxious or we're expecting it to happen.
Something wrong.
To the point that if it doesn't happen, we even create the scenario in our head that it happens. Yeah, something alright, him too perfect. Him too good. Too
before
good.
you close,
You don't cheat.
I have to
No,
just
you're not.
dispel
No.
this
Something
notion
is wrong.
that women have that there's no good men left out there. I'm tired to hear it. Because
I agree.
There are still good men out there.
Yeah, no for it. And it burned me stay close up quickly, because we just get warm up, right? And it's sad because there are men out there who want to shine, but we are being dulled even before we get that chance to, or we are being overlooked, or we are being friend zoned, or we are being, so many different things.
I grew up as, to me,
ladies,
I considered myself not one of the better looking guys, and it was evident with the interactions that I had with females, because men are brown and I'm cute and sideline same time.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, a lot of the times,
exactly, you pray and ask it and you send him.
God send the man through, the perfect.
Because I'm not look like Denzel.
Perfect. And him said him. Yeah, it's like automatically ask you, yes, God, a joke I make? How much joke I make? God, a joke I make. How much me know say a joke I make? So it's like we tend to play it's not fair game with God. We ask for this and we get it, and when God send it, we say.
But there are still good men out there.
Like, no,
men who are also
and this is one of the reasons.
Me tell you someone want.
Yeah,
this.
men who are also willing to wait until marriage to have sex.
Yeah.
People always say it's still weird to find a guy who is marrying a virgin. Yeah. But they're still out there. We waited for 10 years. We waited until marriage. Still possible.
And that's it, Andrew, because of how they view some of us. Why I believe you and I may be the difference in society, because they looked on us as a certain way, or they say, boy, him this and him that. I spent time developing my craft, developing myself as a person, so that when I step out now, people are going to say, yo, we been there all along.
Exactly.
Yeah. But then them time they're too late for some of them, is it?
Way too late.
I honestly love the honesty. I love just the realness from you both. So I have to say a super, super, super big thank you to our guest for today's episode, Mr. Andrew.
Thanks for having us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we looked at his expectations. And ladies, there are still good men out there. If you're wondering, where's my Mr. Right? He's right there.
Or maybe I need to take off the glasses.
You need to get
take off the dark.
Get it as well. Drink some carrot
so you can see look clear.
Him better man. But him daddy. He's there. He's definitely there. And I want us to just keep in mind that I think it's on a mutual ground of our expectations, communication, commitment, honesty, and trust. So let us just bear those in mind and remember that whatever it is we're expecting from the other party, we ourselves should be able to give of those expectations. So at this time, I'm going to invite you to go on over to our Instagram page. That's Understanding Her More, and that's understanding_her_more. And you can keep up to date with all of what we are doing. Now be sure to tune in for the next episode. It promises to be exciting. But until then, I'm your host, KDK. What good?